Part 2. Ferdinand de Saussure and Semiotics as a Social Practice. I'm Dale Elizabeth Glasgow, and I'm your lecturer for this series. For Ferdinand de Saussure, semiology, or semiotics, revealed that we derive meaning from actions or objects based upon our shared assumptions or conventions. That is to say, Saussure believed that language is tied irretrievably to the social, cultural, political, and economic system in which it operates. And just as individual parts of language systems structure the whole, citizens' social lives are structured by governments and other powerful institutional agents. Let's take a look at an example. The media. The media are differentiated because, just as media organizations act as social agents of change, media also are shaped by mass audiences and other structures of domination. This is the place where myth or ideology and hegemony reside, because through them one can theorize media artifacts and the way meaning is made. If you'd like more information about these concepts, check out our videos, What is Ideology? Or Antonio Gramsci's Theory of Hegemony. From a structuralist perspective, we perceive a great deal of the world through media representation of phenomena. And resultantly, our social and cultural lives are greatly influenced by what we view, what we read and hear in the media. That is to say, the media structure our lives by operating as meaning-making systems. One of the main criticisms of Saussure was that semiotics did not address the interactive way that language is used in real-life situations, where dialogue exists between diverse speakers. So semiotics never addressed the questions about how power is embedded in language. 2. As Stuart Hall argued, the way Saussure looked to develop semiotics as a science was folly. Hall believed that language cannot be studied through a scientific premise because it is not a static system reducible to formal elements. It is ever evolving as meaning continues to be produced in ways that cannot be predicted. These scholars accepted that individuals do not merely accept all that they see, read, and hear as the gospel truth. As Stuart Hall and others argued, through the process of decoding, we in myriad ways accept, reject, negotiate, resist, and reappropriate meaning in artifacts. If you'd like to know more about this process, please check out our video, Stuart Hall's Encoding-Decoding Model of Communication. So media producers have great levity in determining how values and ideas permeate communities. In this way, the media have great power to unequally shape public narratives in favor of a minority of elites and powerful institutions, while ignoring, for the most part, the majority without power or influence. As is part of Foucault's central thesis in Discipline and Punishment, The Birth of the Prison, resistance is rendered mute as we internalize institutional systems that dominate and oppress us. Analyzing artifacts from the perspective of audiences allowed scholars to think, or begin to think, about power relations, when it is not the kind of power that is imposed by law or force, or by the brutality of individual people, where forms of coercion exist but with no clear or identifiable system of enforcement. Studying Saussure allowed media scholars to start at a point of studying media texts and images as possessing a multiplicity of meanings rather than as a unitary meaning. He conceived that the sign consisted of two parts that were interconnected, the signifier and the signified. Saussure's crucial assumption here was that the sign is arbitrary. There is no natural connection between the signifier and the signified. Consider the following. The Saussurean legacy of the arbitrariness of signs leads semioticians to stress that the relationship between the signifier and the signified is conventional. It is dependent on social and cultural conventions. This is particularly clear in the case of the linguistic signs with which Saussure was concerned. A word means what it does to us only because we collectively agree to let it do so. Saussure felt that the main concern of semiotics should be the whole group of systems grounded in the arbitrariness of the sign. He argued that Signs which are entirely arbitrary convey better than others the ideal semiological process. That is why the most complex and the most widespread of all systems of expression, which is the one we find in human languages, is also the most characteristic of all. In the end, Saussure's contribution is that semiotics allowed subsequent scholars to develop theories of representation that look to analyze artifacts from the perspective of audience reception, rather than concentrating solely on producers through empirically researching effects, the approach of most social and behavioral scientists. I'm D. Elizabeth Glasgow. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.